Before the start of the game, each player gets 4 markers of different colors, 1 reference card, and 1 random player board of the chosen city. Find the round board for the selected city and place it in the middle of the table. If that's your first game, we recommend starting with the first city. Shuffle together the 24 tourist cards and the 12 iconic landmark cards of the selected city to compile the city deck. Each player draws 3 cards. The player who last traveled or went on a field trip becomes the first player and places their reference card the green side up. The goal of the game is to create the best tour route for tourists with different interests. The game always lasts 10 rounds. Every regular round consists of 3 phases: round card selection phase, drawing phase, and refill phase. The active player places 1 card from their hand in the middle of the table, face up. Then, the players to the left and right place 1 card from their hand to the left and right of the first card, face down. The active player reveals both cards and places one of them on the bottom of the deck. The remaining 2 cards are the round cards. The numbers on the cards determine the coordinates on city boards. It's best to write them down on the round track of the round board. And the colored shapes represent the number of tourists and their types. There are only 3 types of tourists in the first city: tourists who like noisy entertainment, who enjoy urban nature, and who prefer cultural centers. Some cards don't have tourists, but double the number of tourists from the other card. Some cards feature gray iconic landmarks. For each landmark symbol, mark the next upgrade box of that landmark on the round board. This means that the rating of that landmark is upgraded. In this phase, each player marks tourists and draws a route segment on their board. Each location has 2 coordinates, horizontal and vertical. They are both written as numbers 1 to 6. Each player decides for themselves which coordinate is horizontal and which is vertical. Draw tourist shapes in the selected location according to the round cards. Chart a route segment by drawing a line along the roads between locations. You can either draw a continuous route segment of 2 sections with at least 1 section running along the edge of your selected location, or draw 1 route section anywhere on your city board. If all locations that match the round cards on your city board are already occupied, mark 1 tourist of any type on any location. Then draw 1 route section anywhere on your city board. Player boards for each city have the same layout, but the alignments of the coordinates is different, so your routes will never be the same. At the end of the round, discard all round cards face up. Each player then draws cards from the city deck, if necessary, until they have 3. The player who was active for that round turns their reference card the red side up. The next player clockwise becomes the active player and turns their reference card the green side up. Once per game, a player can take a mulligan. Discard 1 or 2 cards from your hand and put them on the bottom of the deck. Then take the same number of cards from the top of the deck and shuffle it. Circle the number on your board to remember that you've used this ability. To score as many victory points as possible, your route must include various attractions and iconic landmarks. For example, special landmarks that correspond to a certain type of tourist: red, green, and blue locations. Common landmarks, or yellow and gray locations, and also visit them all places. Other cities may have other scoring rules. After 10 rounds have been played, the game ends. Each player must chart the final route. To do so, select 2 endpoints and 1 continuous path between them. Erase any route sections not included in the final route. Then, erase all tourists in the locations that are not on the final route. Now, you can start scoring victory points. To do this, count all the red tourists in locations along the route and multiply by the number of red locations along the route. Do the same with green and blue tourists. Add up points for all popular landmarks on the route. Add up points for iconic landmarks on your route. Points are indicated above their highest marked upgrade box. Add up points for the visit them all points on the route. If you have the most points, you win. In the following games, you can increase the difficulty level by adding goal cards and using cafe bonuses. And also, visit other cities with unique special rules. To play with goals, place 3 goal cards during setup, 1 of each type, A, B, and C. At the end of the game, score points for goals achieved. Each player who meets a goal card's requirement receives goal achiever points. The player who meets a goal's requirements and has the highest or lowest number, depending on the goal, instead receives goal winner points. Whenever you chart a route section that touches a crossroad with a cafe, you immediately gain that cafe bonus. You can get an additional route section, additional tourists, the ability to change the coordinate value, and so on. The cafe symbol with a lightning-like straw can only be used on the same turn you gain it. The others can be used later at any time during your drawing phase. Each bonus you gain but don't use will earn you 2 points at the end of the game.